Hi and welcome to another Watch Geek video. Today we'll have a look at a new watch that is yet to be released by AVI-8 and it's part of their Flyboy Centenary line that was made to commemorate 100 years of the British Royal Air Force. The lineup was first launched in March of 2018 with designs inspired by the 1920s and 1940s, while this second run will cover 1960s and 1980s. All these watches are made in a limited run, but no one knows how limited they are, since the watches are not numbered. The model we are covering today belongs to the 1980s commemoration, and it's one of 3 available versions. This one, with the reference number 4061-03, comes with a black-coated case and loomed markers, while the other versions come with a regular stainless steel case and brushed steel non-loomed markers. Although I try to avoid coated watches because they always end up showing the metal underneath, on this, I thought it's a lesser flaw compared to the lack of loom on the markers the other versions have. They do look good during the day, as the markers have a nice brushed finish, but during the night, having only the hands loomed and absolutely nothing on the dial kinda kills the purpose of a pilot's watch where legibility is the main theme. Luckily, this version excels at that. The dark background and the blackness of the case make the loomed markers and hands stand out even more. And thanks to their large size, even people with poor eyesight will have absolutely no problem reading the time on this. This excellent legibility continues in the dark as well, as the generously applied superluminova makes this watch glow pretty bright. What I love is that they kept the loom for basic timekeeping only. I don't like when companies loom everything on a watch, as it detracts from basic time telling, which is usually all you need to see in the wee hours of the night. When you look at the dial during the day, you realize it's not a simple, flat, one-dimensional dial found on most pilot-inspired watches, but rather it's layered, with the minute track having its own layer followed by the main dial layer that is done in this interesting textured sandpaper finish. Then you have the lowest level, which has slight transparency showing the movement underneath. Everything is finished off by the second subdial that was designed to look like an airplane gauge. This subdial design, combined with multi-layering and the oversized 0 and 6, shows that designers of this piece didn't want to follow the usual Flieger theme, but were much more playful, giving their own interpretation of the style. And I like that, as I really like the end result. Even if I didn't like what they were going for, this design would get respect from me, not only because they tried something different for a change, but also because this playfulness hasn't harmed legibility in any way, which is the main purpose of a pilot's watch. When it comes to the size and the way it wears, the watch has a diameter of 42 mm and a lug-to-lug of just over 48. The thickness is 14.5 and the watch comes in at 88 grams. These are measured values by me, which are slightly smaller than the official specs. I first started doubting the official specs when I put the watch on my wrist, as it didn't seem like a 43 mm watch with 18 mm of thickness. And sure enough, it proved to be smaller, which is something I like, as I think it looks perfect on my 6.9-inch wrist, at least for this style of a watch. The case is black coated and it has a mixture of brushed finishes with a thin polished bevel on the side of the lugs, that I'm sure is more noticeable on regular stainless steel models. The crystal is domed sapphire and it adds a certain level of magnification and reflections, but not too much. The water resistance is only 50 meters, which in combination with a non-screw-down crown and leather-lined strap means you probably shouldn't dive in it. Although the crown might seem like it's not signed at first glance, it actually is, only in a discreet way, as it has the symbol of the Royal Air Force machined in it. I find this subtle way of saluting the Royal Air Force much better than the loud and colorful logo found on the 1960s model. That one screams Royal Air Force, while this one whispers it. And if you didn't know it's a commemorative watch, you would mistake it for just some random machining. The watch comes on a 22mm Cordura strap that is massive in thickness and feels indestructible. The underside is lined with leather, like I mentioned, and despite the strap being very stiff when you put it on the first time, within an hour it contours to wrist shape and makes the watch wear comfortably. To aid the comfort, it tapers down to 20mm at the buckle that is just as massive, and both signed and coated in black to match the case. The watch features an exhibition caseback that reveals a slightly decorated Miyota 8218. A Japanese-made automatic workhorse that beats at 21,600 bph, comes with date and small seconds subdial complication, and features hand-winding option while lacking hacking. To be honest, I would prefer it the other way around, but I know people with large collections prefer hand-winding as they can keep their watches ticking without wearing them. Now before we move on to the pricing and conclusion, I wanted to mention something I usually don't talk about, and that's the packaging and presentation of the watch. The reason I have to mention it here is because it's really good and makes you feel like you bought a more expensive watch. It comes in a large cardboard box, and inside is a Cordura-looking hard box with two straps keeping it closed. It kind of reminds me of the Omega Moonwatch box, only smaller and on a budget. When you open it, you're greeted to the watch sitting on a Cordura pillow on the left, and on the right, you can see an information card with the brand and lineup name, while on the other side, you have a short story about the status of the Royal Air Force in the 1980s. Now, I expected this to be made of cardboard, and was pleasantly surprised when I picked it up and realized it's made of stainless steel with the text and branding etched in it. A really well executed watch presentation. And you know they did a good job at making the watch present expensive when you're opening the package in front of your wife and her facial expression starts to go from smiling to angry as she starts having doubts about the price you told her you paid. So a well presented, interesting take on a traditional pilot's watch with a sapphire crystal, great lume, and powered by a reliable Miyota movement. So what's not to like? Well, if I had to nitpick, I would have preferred a larger and longer minute hand. Also, I think the dial would look better if it was done in that grained finish completely, as the smoky transparent part doesn't really show anything interesting about the movement. These are going to go for sale on 3rd of October at a retail price of 280 British pounds. But as usual with these micro brands, you will be able to pre-order the watch by September 21st at 219 pounds. If that still seems steep for you, you can sign up for the watch right now and up to the 21st, which will grant you a coupon code with an additional discount that will be sent to you at September 21st. This discount will be deducted from the pre-order price, probably lowering the watch way under $200, which does make it an interesting proposition. Now the link for the sign up will be in the description, so if you do decide to get the watch, make sure to use it, as it will guarantee you the lowest possible price. Anyways, this completes this week's review, so thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed and found it useful. If you did, please like and subscribe by pressing this button right here, and until the next video, bye.